Hi everybody, Jeff Dunham here, and we are sitting in a vehicle that is about a year ago, Matt, right? About a year, almost exactly a year ago.
Pretty close.
Yeah, we took a drive in this thing, just barely loping along after doing a real barn find in Zanesville, Ohio. I got the 1970 Superbird, and Dr. Smith sold it to me, and it was ready for restoration. It had languished for decades, sitting in his barn. Well, we took it to Julius Restorations, and Julius spent a year, did a frame-off rotisserie restoration, made this thing absolutely perfect, just like it was in out of the factory. So it's not exactly perfect, but it is perfect. So I just wanted to show it to you, and we're going to take it for a drive. Is that about it, right, Matt?
Pretty much.
But
before we do,
yeah?
Can we see what it looks like?
Oh yeah, we got to get out and show it to him first. Yeah, but let's show the insides first. This is a typical product from the 70s. I mean, it looks like crap interior, but everything is just as it would have come from the factory. And you saw the Roadrunner on the middle of the steering wheel there. I gotta do the horn, right? Right? The Roadrunner, ready?
Yep.
There you go. Just like the Roadrunner. But for those of you who don't know, this thing is what made NASCAR explode in 1970. And they only sold this vehicle for 1 year. That was during 1970. And the reason they came out with this is because to be a NASCAR stock car race, they had to sell to the general public what they raced. And this vehicle actually changed the rules. It was banned after one season because it was too powerful. The technology for the motor and everything exceeded the technology for the tires. It was basically the first vehicle to go over 200 miles an hour. 1969 season, the Dodge version of it, the Dodge Daytona, hit 200 miles per hour. But then when they were trying to get Richard Petty back from Ford, Plymouth came up with the Roadrunner, and this Roadrunner, the Superbird version of the Roadrunner, and he just killed everybody that season in this vehicle. And so this is pretty much stock the way it came from the factory. Everything's exactly what you would have gotten. The car did not sell at all. It was a dog. The dealers couldn't give these things away because they were so darn ugly, but super cool now and unbelievably collectible. And this one is the best of everything. It's a 4-speed. It's a Hemi. It's high C orange. It
Vitamin
has
C, yeah.
A vitamin C orange. It has bucket seats. What am I missing?
No, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it, yeah.
It's got all. It checks all the boxes. This car.
It checks all the boxes. Yeah.
Which means that. Yeah. And I'm just going back to the numbers of cars that were produced.
Yeah. So the number of cars that were produced. So basically, back then, they changed the rules in 1970 that the manufacturer had to produce one car for every 2 dealerships. So back in 1970, that would have been 1,920 cars. So the bookkeeping wasn't good back then, but it was at least, and probably not much more than 1,920 Superbirds were produced that year. Of those cars, only 135 were Hemis. Only 135 were Hemis because of cost. And out of those 135, only 58, only 58 of those were 4-speed, were stick. So, and then you start narrowing down to the bucket seats and the color. There were 7 different colors. So this is a very, very, very rare vehicle, and Julius has done an amazing job on this thing. And the reason we're here, we're near Burbank Airport. We're near Jay Leno's garage, where we just shot an episode of Jay Leno's Garage, the YouTube show. It's going to be edited and available soon, and it was Jay and me talking about this car and driving it around. Jay drove it around, and we had a lot of fun. So that'll be up there soon. But let's show them the car real quick.
Let's do it.
Are we getting good comments? Anybody saying anything?
Yeah. Let me see. It's bright in this car. Let's see. Yeah. We got a lot of people talking about when you coming back and about the show. So I guess the question is.
So the show's great. The tour. I did a show last night at Caesar's Palace in Vegas. Had a great time, and we start the big tour. The arenas begin right after Christmas at the 28th, 29th, somewhere in there.
Yep.
The show's going great. The new guy.
Oh, yeah, and there's a new guy.
Yeah, the new guy. Not the baby. It's a new guy since Seamus, a brand new guy. And it may be a little political.
Uh-oh.
Did I talk about it? I talked about it.
I think you mentioned it briefly. I think we teased it maybe a little bit.
All right, a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's show you the car before we take a drive. And we're getting on the freeway in this thing. And Jay had a lot of fun driving it. He really loved it. So.
Oh, look at that sound. Anybody remember that sound?
Remember the sound? There's the key. Hold on. It's just awful.
Welcome to 1970.
Yeah, exactly. It even smells a little bit like 1970 in here.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, it's you. Okay. All right. So let's talk about a few of the things on this vehicle. Again, it was made for the racetrack, and this giant nose on the front, it made the car 19 inches longer than the regular Roadrunner. You got to see it from the side, though, Matt.
Yeah.
Come over here. I mean, this thing is huge, and this is a giant piece of metal right here. Giant piece of metal. The only fiberglass on this entire vehicle are the covers on the lights. What else? The hood is pinned. And this is what kills me. Now, I've read a few things about this, these scoops, and the scoops are come from the back. And because this thing was scientifically designed, wind tunnel, the whole deal, and that's why it broke so many speed records and why it beat everybody on the track, was because they used science for this thing. And when people saw these scoops, the opposition thought it was some sort of high-tech cooling way to cool the brakes or whatever, but actually what they were on the actual NASCAR cars, they had bigger tires, and in the curves the tires would rub on the underside of the fender, so they cut a hole in the fender so that the tire could wouldn't hit anymore, and then they just covered them in these scoops and looked like some high-tech sort of thing, but it was nothing. It was just a cover to cover up the hole. What else about these things? I don't think the antenna was on the NASCAR car. Vinyl roof. I love vinyl roofs. It screams the 70s to me. As a kid, I loved them. And then the wing back here. The wing is all metal. It's got to be aluminum because a magnet won't stick to it, so it can't be steel. And what else?
Well, when you got this car, what was the condition?
I on a 1 to 10, I'd say it was about a 4?
Yeah, 3? Okay, I held up a 3.
A 3, yeah.
Oh, 3. I think we're...
Oh, are we in the way?
FedEx need to get in here? Oh, no, he's good.
Okay, he's good. Okay, all right, good. I thought we were blocking the FedEx guy. And again, Jay and I talked about this, and I'm not sure, maybe you guys know, is this one of the first vehicles to ever use a character as the mascot? I don't know. But Roadrunner came out in 1964, was it? 64? The first Roadrunner? But then again, this is the Superbird version of the Roadrunner. And then on the Dodge side of things, it was the Dodge Daytona. That's actually what was the first car to go over 200 miles an hour at NASCAR. And it was
also the first car to ever be tested in a wind tunnel.
Oh, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
But again, that was the Dodge side of things. And that was the Daytona. Now, this is the Plymouth side of things, and they were trying to lure Petty back from Ford, and that's why Plymouth designed this and the Superbird. And he came over, and again, he kicked everybody's butt in 1970.
So one thing that I noticed before we jump in and hit the road, there's no license plate on this car.
Oh, there's no plate because we've registered it, but we want to get a personalized plate. So, we'll have a little contest for you guys. What should this plate be? What vanity tag, what personalized plate should we try and get? And a lot of things you might think of might be already taken. But think of something unusual, something great. It's 7. We can have 7 digits, right?
I think 7's right, yeah.
It's 7, yeah. So, what would be good and really, I don't know, a little bit unique and just say that this is this car? Again, I don't know, but there's the Roadrunner. And you know, if you think of something obvious, it has to be taken. So,
yeah, but let's run it up the flagpole. Let's see what they got.
See what you guys come up with. What should be a good idea for the Superbird?
I have a question in terms of the body on this car. Is it basically just a Roadrunner with a big motor and a tail and a nose, or were there other cosmetic things? That
they changed a few things. Like I can't remember the reason for changing the back window. What was the reason for changing the back window?
Well, I think it was like we were talking about the Daytona being in a wind tunnel.
Right.
This car was the offshoot of that, so this one's even more refined than so they learned things, and I think that this sloped glass probably proved to be more aerodynamic, and as a result, they moved that rear window back.
And what's funny about that is, as Julius was restoring it, went over to the shop, and they had it all, down at the body, all apart, and they were painting it. But what was funny is you see that mat inside there. What that's covering up is the original bottom of where the original windshield went. So there's basically two tiers there, and they just covered it up in the body out of the factory with this pad, and then welded in this new bottom for this other windshield. And you can see because there's some odd panels here. And I guess the front fenders are from a Coronet,
Yeah.
which Jay said was his first actual muscle car.
Oh, wow.
Coronet, yeah, that's what he said. So, anyway, what can you say? Oh, I want to look at the motor. Why not?
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look. 'Cause
Again, this is pinned. This is what makes me nervous, is pulling these pins out of this damn thing because I don't scratch the paint.
another thing is you hear a lot about Hemis,
Yep.
and I don't know that I maybe had ever really seen an actual Hemi until you got this car.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's run over the numbers. So in 1970, this was the Hemi. Is a Hemi motor. It's a 426 with 425 horsepower, almost 1-to-1. That's pretty amazing. And it would do 0 to 60. Let's see if anybody can guess what was 0 to 60. And again, this is 1970, and it was kicking ass in 1970. Anybody know? Anybody know?
I'm waiting to see. We're getting
Anybody
some
said-
license plate suggestions.
Okay.
Bad Bird.
Okay.
Somebody says Super Bird, but I guess you'd have to remove a letter because that's 8 letters.
Right.
Oh, somebody said it's Peanuts.
Peanuts. All right, it was 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, which is pretty darn fast for back then. Now a frickin' Kia can do that.
Chris Johnson says 12 and a half seconds.
Oh, no, that's just sad. And again, this is a 4-speed Hemi. What other numbers are we talking about? 4-barrel, V8, Hemi.
It's a 6-pack. A 6-pack.
Oh, that's right.
426
Yep.
six-pack.
Yeah, right, okay. Hold on, let me look over here. Here we go. That's a beautiful, clean thing right there.
I'm gonna go on this side.
I don't know what else you can say about this. Can you see the horn down there?
Oh yeah.
Purple horn.
So not only does it sound like the Roadrunner,
It is purple and it's got a Roadrunner on it. Yay! And again, this is all factory original. Everything is exactly like you would have seen it at the dealership. The only thing it's missing is the pad under here. And Julia said, let's not bother putting that because they always fall down and they rub on things and just don't need it. And it actually sounds great.
and I actually think he said when we asked that this car quite possibly didn't even come with one because when you got it, there was no pad.
No pad. Yep. Well, Dr. Smith was a good guy, but he got his price.
And this car,
I'm the third owner.
you're the third owner.
Yep.
And I think you started to talk about Dr. Smith, but this car literally was in a barn.
Literally in a barn in Zanesville, Ohio, and it sat there for decades, languishing. And he pulled it out, and we showed up in a tour bus one day just to look it over to make sure it's what it was supposed to be. We then had it inspected to make sure he knew what he had, but he thought he wasn't absolutely 100% positive because nobody had proven it. But we had the guy come in and make sure everything was what it was supposed to be, and it was. It's all numbers matching. And Julius just brought it up to what it would have been. Julius even goes so far as doing the overspray the way it was from the factory. If somebody, some guy who's going to make this car perfect would have made everything perfect, but the factory it wasn't perfect. There's a bunch of union guys spraying this and spraying that. He did all the stickers the right way. He did all the markings. Everything like it would have been out of the factory.
Yeah, when we saw this car, actually, here's a good example. When we saw this car, the engine out of this car, like there was like orange paint on the headers. There's even orange paint on the ground for the battery, which is,
Right.
like you say, most people would just put a black cable in there and they make sure that it was pristine and armor-alled and all of that stuff. This one's got paint on it,
Right.
which is great.
Yep. And I love the battery. The battery is one of those batteries that looks like the original thing, but the top is fake, and underneath is the actual current modern day technology. But I had one of those. I think it was in the Cuda. I didn't know. I thought it was just an old battery. That somebody was remaking those old batteries that were actually acid batteries. I took those tops off and poured acid inside there.
Or water.
No, I poured acid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody, the comments were going so fast. Somebody mentioned the height of the rear wing.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let me close this. And by the way, I want to pin this. And again, this is what makes me the most nervous, putting these metal pins right on top of... Can you imagine slipping and scratching up the hood? I don't know.
Because that's the other thing about this restoration is the paint on this car is flawless.
Oh, yeah. And that one thing I didn't notice, it has a little teeny bitty metal flake in it.
Yeah, I don't know if they can see it. It's compressed in Facebook and all of that stuff, but you might
And
catch...
I think this orange is a little dull because you get to the Hemi orange and it's a much brighter orange. And that's what was on the engine. But this was vitamin C. All right, so the height of the wing. Now, there's debate over what the truth is, but let me get the keys. Hold on. The debate on this is they first thought that this was some highly technological reason for putting this thing this height, that it had something to do with aerodynamics, and it really helped the down pressure, it being this high. Something adjusted something. But then the rumor came out from somebody that used to work for the factory that the reason that they made it that height, does anybody guess? Anyone?
Well, the one of the guys said he said what the rumor is,
yeah.
and that's
hold short right here. Ready? The rumor is they put it that high so the trunk could open. If it was any lower, the trunk wouldn't open. But then it came back later that no, that was false information. So.
But that might be false information.
Right, exactly.
You never
know.
know.
You gotta see the size of the trunk, though. This is not a body, that's the car cover. He has a huge trunk in there.
Well,
full spare.
And you talk about size, let's be honest, Richard Petty and those guys were men to drive this car at 200 miles an hour.
When we're going 70, 80 miles an hour down the freeway, it's like, it's a typical 70s car. It's like, it's not tight. But there goes a cop. He saw I had no plate. He's still driving. Anyway, good.
He's San Diego. It's fine.
Oh, that's weird. What's he doing? What's he doing up here? Anyway, so yeah. And I know people are probably wondering about the fires. Yeah, we're here in Burbank. There's fires all over the place. Jay's cars, he said yesterday he had like a half an inch of soot on the cars coming from, I guess, his vents. I don't know what it was. So the fires are everywhere. It's heartbreaking seeing what's happened. But we are in an area right now where they're not anywhere close. So there you go.
Roger D. Bailey thinks that the wing is just for looks.
No, the wing is not just for looks.
It's like, Roger, this car looks like a shopping cart.
Yeah, no, that's a lot to do with how much down pressure was on those rear wheels and keeping this thing on the racetrack. So yeah, no, that's why it was beating everybody. That and the nose and the Hemi motor kicked everybody's butt.
This car was purpose-built to go fast, and I think one of the things that you and I talked about was the Air Force using.
Oh yeah, the Air Force used this thing. It was years later, though, right?
I did this. You told me this story, so I'm not sure.
Okay, but they apparently there was a guy. Okay, so this was in the 70s. They were the EPA wanted to know how much exhaust and what kind of air that jets were putting out on takeoff to see what the pollution was, because pollution was a big deal in the 70s. We have so much cleaner air than we did back then from cars. So they needed a vehicle to chase the jet taking off down the track. So the guy that they hired said, I think there's only one car that can do it. So he got a Superbird, and that had a six-pack. It was not a Hemi.
Right, it was 446 pack.
446 pack. And so he got it, and they figured the aerodynamics of this car should be able to survive whatever blast is coming from the jet. And so on takeoff, he would get in the Superbird and chase the jet down the freeway. They didn't know what was going to happen the first time, but it buffeted it around and apparently became the chase vehicle for doing that stuff for the EPA. And that car was for sale not long ago. Might still be, I don't know. It was a blue one, I think. Yeah, they painted it with the Air Force looking colors.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's great. So there you go.
Somebody suggests the license plate should say Meep Meep.
Meep Meep. How you spell Meep Meep?
M-E-E-P, M-E-E-P.
That'd be great if that's available.
That's Don Wolf. That's a good one.
I have in mind what I think it should be, but let's move on.
Yeah. And maybe we'll reveal it once we finally get a play for this thing.
Sure, but we got to see if we can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I don't want you to spill the beans.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
Here we go. Let's see how this thing drives.
Hopefully it'll be a good drive home. And there's no air conditioning, obviously. There's no air conditioning in NASCAR.
Right.
At least not back then. Do they have it now?
No. They have those cooled suits.
Oh yeah, the cooled suits. That's cheating.
All right. Can you hold this just for 2 seconds while I stick on my belt here?
Excuse me?
I'm going to put my belt on.
Okay, good. Here, Matt, we'll get a shot of you. Here, Matt. Oh, look, your hair. I got your hair.
I wore the wrong shirt.
Good. What'd you wear? What does it say?
I don't know, but
Tillamook? What is that?
I look really fat in this shirt.
Only in that shirt.
No, only in this one.
Okay.
I have a six-pack when I wear a sweater.
What are you doing?
I'm looking.
Well, that's one of the weird things. I don't know how they make this camera look down.
Oh, with your thumb.
With my thumb.
Or if you tilt it enough, it'll go.
Okay, hold on. I'll try it. See if I can do it. Okay, there it goes.
Yeah.
So what's funny about this car is there's 4 buckles down here. 2 on my side, 2 on your side. Show them in this shot there. So there's 2 and 2. So why? One goes for your lap and the other goes for the shoulder belt. And nobody had figured out back then.
And then flip it the other way. Okay. There you go.
Nobody had figured out back then. Nobody had figured out back then that you should just Y it together.
You know, it's a good thing they don't do this on the airlines. Could you imagine all the fumpering?
Yeah. Here, let's go for a drive. People are getting bored.
Okay, sorry.
Dumb camera.
All right, I'm back.
All right, hold on. I got to put my seatbelt on.
Hopefully it doesn't take you 20 minutes, too.
And this is another thing I haven't figured out. On a car, what is the key upside down? Oh, my accountant's calling. I can't talk to him. He's probably seeing the video, going, "Don't drive. You don't have any insurance."
Or he's going, "This is great. I can write it off."
So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, on a key, Matt, which is up and which is down? Is this right side up or is this right side up?
I usually have a 50-50 chance of getting it right.
And it amazes me that on vehicles it's different.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh,
some are this way, some are this way. This particular car is this way.
Oh.
The keys are, to me, that's upside down. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. Somebody was asking about the radio, wanted to know if it was 8-track.
No, it's just that, no, there's no 8-track in a NASCAR. But there is AM radio. Hey, there was no radio in a, what did they have? Did they have a radio, like talk to each other in 70?
Oh, yeah, they were, yeah.
So I wonder, no, they had to be down here. I don't know what was in this spot.
Oh, I'm sure it was just a big metal dash.
Okay, we gotta show them something else that cracks me up. Okay, so there's an ashtray. You don't get those in cars anymore, do you? No. I don't know, but this actually works. This is great.
You're going to have to explain what that is to the millennials.
Oh, to the millennials. This is when you smoked. You put the cigarette here. What's that for?
That's,
Somebody tell us. What's that for?
every car my dad ever had that.
Yeah, but this is where your cigarette goes. What the hell is that?
I think that was where you crushed it out.
Oh, that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Matt, you're smarter than you look. All right. And so then, as a kid, I remember being in my parents' car and going, pushing it in, and it's like, wow, that's really, it's red. I wonder how hot that is. And then touching it and burning the living crap out of myself. But, okay, what's the big complaint with cars of this era? No drink holder, right?
Oh.
These guys were so far ahead of themselves. Ready? Okay, turn over here. Look over here. Here we go. Here we go. This is the drink holder. Okay, here we go. Oh, there it is, right there. It's this indented thing, and another one over here. What's the little one in the middle? Your snuff? It's for your snuff?
That's if you're doing shots.
No, it's for your shots. I'm going to say it's for your little snuff, your skull. All right, ready?
Let's do it.
And the clutch on this thing is mother of God, I don't need to work out today.
Uh-oh. There it is.
All right, there we go. And this car always has to be in reverse to take the keys out. That's the way Pontiacs and Plymouths work. All right. And, the pistol grip.
Oh, yeah.
This is the pistol grip right here. And you can actually see over here where there's for your thumb. So the pistol grip. That was that Jay and I talked about that. It had to be a manly thing back then. And Jay has an ad that said the car that's built for a man. You couldn't do that today.
No.
But I don't know if I'd want to meet the chick from 1970 that wanted this car over any other.
Well, the one that could actually push that clutch to the floor.
Exactly.
Her thigh would be as big around as my waist.
Had to be a gymnast. All right, ready? Here we go. I don't remember how to get home. I can do but wait a minute. See, 1970 wasn't really that long ago, right? Because to power my iPhone, I unplugged the lighter and yay!
Now the millennials understand.
I wonder if millennials even know that that's what that was, as a lighter and not just a power port.
I'm sure not.
All right, we love millennials. Okay, hold on a second. Let's find ways and see what it says. You can't get home because of the fires. Great. Okay, here we go. Not really. Search for, we're not going to the house.
You usually have to put the key upside down because it's a stick.
If that's the case, that is the greatest bit of knowledge.
Tammy, thank you.
Tammy, are you serious?
That's what it says. We're going to have to look it up.
Come on.
We're going to have to go around and put keys in cars and see what's up.
Now I don't know where to put my phone. There's no place to put my phone.
You can put it in the drink holders.
There is no drink. Oh, that'll drink holder. All right, I don't know where it's going to go. Oh, it goes right here. Okay. Don't show them my address. We'll have stalkers. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, we're just driving a bright orange car.
Take a right? Okay, take a right. Here we go. All right, so we're going to get on the freeway in a minute.
Chryslers of that vintage were all upside down.
So everybody's saying it's upside down. So everybody agrees that it's upside down.
It is upside down, but somebody's saying it's not true about the stick. So
okay.
We're going to have to put this to the test, I think.
All right. I should have asked Jay that. I bet he doesn't even know. What happened?
Sheila says, yes, if it's a stick shift, that's the way the key goes.
Come on.
And then Chris says all Dodge and Plymouths were upside down.
You know what? That's not true. That Silver Anniversary Trans Am I have, the teeth go down. And it's stick.
It is stick.
Yeah.
Oh. Jim, what's his last name there? Molman? He wants us to burn some rubber.
Well, okay, Jim, here's the problem. It's a brand new motor. I mean, Julia's zeroed it out. Totally rebuilt. We've put less than 60 miles on it. I can't do any burnouts yet.
Not yet, but maybe.
Yeah, come back in 1,000 miles or so.
Come back in 1,000 miles.
Yeah, but I wish. Jay was actually, he was very respectful, but he was getting on it a little harder than I would have for a brand new motor. So anyway. Jay honestly seemed like he had fun with this, and it wasn't just for the video. He seemed like he really enjoyed it. Because I know when he doesn't enjoy a car, like when he was driving my Gremlin, he was just like, oh, you know.
Yeah. You mean he didn't like this as much as the Bradley?
The Bradley GT or the Gremlin. When we were doing the episode with the Gremlins, was that the real TV show, or was that the YouTube or the
Gremlin was TV, I think. No, Gremlin was YouTube.
Was it?
I think, yeah.
All right, we laughed because I had two Gremlins and one of them broke down. Oh, there goes my phone. What was that?
I don't know. Oh, it was half of my seatbelt.
Oh, okay. A half you're not wearing?
Oh, we got some people from the UK watching.
Oh, that's cool.
Part of
wow,
UK.
what time is it there? It's the middle of the night. Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 o'clock at night in London right now.
And speaking of UK, you're going.
Oh, going to the UK very soon. Like in the spring? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, my tour's going to take me there.
I think you can take a right here, don't you?
And it's not, yeah, it is something. Don't say where we are. Okay.
It's okay, they'll just find their way to Jay's.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, so my tour, again, we talked about that before. My tour begins right after Christmas, the 28th or 29th. I'm going to be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, not far from my daughter at college. It's funny to watch people look at this thing.
Yeah, because I forget what we're in.
Yeah, you do? You actually forget?
Well, I'm just saying how outlandish it looks from the outside. On the interior, I just feel like we're in like a 70s muscle car.
An older car, yeah. But this is... And it's crazy how many people give you the thumbs up. A lot of people obviously have no earthly idea what this was. Did we say that these things, they did not sell? They could not give them away. Did we talk about that?
Yeah, you mentioned it almost to the point where I read a thing saying that dealers were replacing the nose and tails on these cars to turn them back into just straight up Roadrunners.
Yeah, regular Roadrunners. Yep. Alright, that was a yellow light, but it was a bright yellow light.
I don't know if you can really get the perspective, but that's a whole lot of steel in front of us. That is a long...
Yeah, you can't... Jay and I were driving and tried to see the headlight things go up, and you can't see the headlights from here because it's way down the hood. North. Yeah.
So I wonder when the last time a 1970 Hemi Cuda actually rolled around over here on the freeway.
Well, a Cuda, I don't know.
Or not Cuda, I'm sorry. Did I say Hemi Cuda?
You said Hemi Cuda.
Superbird.
Well, the last Hemi Cuda to drive over here was mine. Oh, it's not a Hemi.
No, it's a...
Damn it.
383?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well. It's still awesome.
It's 1005 in Scotland.
All right.
Well, that's cool. I mean, what I like about this is you got people from all over the world.
Yeah, that's great. And that's another thing Jay said. This is so obviously an American car. And what I didn't say during the YouTube video was that's because no other nation would be stupid enough to build something this outlandish and huge.
But what's interesting about it is that this car was so purposefully built.
I say stupid enough in a complimentary way.
Of course.
I love this thing. It's just ridiculously huge and great.
But, you know, sometimes the most practical things at the time aren't terribly traditionally attractive. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, this car, some people might consider ugly, but everything on it serves a purpose.
Right. That's true. All right. This truck is stalled. That's nice. We had no idea. Thanks, dudes. I would just go, run the light! Run the light!
When and where are you doing your next live show, Jeff? Don't you have a date this weekend?
What?
Aren't you out of town this weekend?
No.
Oh.
If I do, I know. I was at Caesar's Palace last night in Vegas.
Okay.
And my next show is actually for the LAPD next week.
Oh, that might be what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, doing a little freebie for them there.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah, sure. Look, those guys, they work their butts off, and it's a thankless job, man. Oh my gosh, calm down, we're going. Is that for me?
That wasn't us, we're behind this guy.
Yeah, ours goes beep, beep.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, Matt. It's going to get noisy. We'll sign off in a little bit here. All right. Oh my God, this is so much fun. So we drove at 2J's this morning. And you were surprised, right, Matt?
What's that?
You were surprised at how smooth it was.
I have to say, this car rolls out really well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we got somebody in Indianapolis saying December 28th if you're playing.
December 28th, that's when I'm going to be in Cedar Rapids?
Indianapolis, yeah.
Indianapolis?
Indianapolis is what they said. I'll have to look at the schedule.
I don't know.
But all the dates can be found at JeffDunham.com.
At JeffDunham.com.
And the one thing I will say is occasionally we get comments about buying tickets and whatnot. The best place to buy Jeff Dunham tickets is
JeffDunham.com.
And not
anywhere else, because they scalp like hell. My tickets are always between around $50. If you're paying more than $50 or $60, you are getting ripped off.
Yeah.
So we always try and keep the prices good so almost anybody can afford it. Those prices are very competitive to most shows out there. So please come on out.
And they make great Christmas gifts.
Great Christmas gifts. And this is not a giant commercial for that. We love doing this. All right, Matt. It's smoky out here.
Oh, yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, I just want to show the wing out the back. That's a sight right there.
This car is going to be filthy when we get back.
It is.
The air is like, ugh. Yeah, it's bad.
Somebody said we're making them nervous. He's off until we park.
He's what?
He's signing off until we park.
Because we're driving a $500,000 vehicle. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I love driving my cars. I don't care what they're worth. Even this kind of car is made to be driven.
Well, the one thing that I noticed when we were taking the car over for them to shoot it this morning is that, and the windows are down now, but that there were kid handprints in the windows in the back.
Yeah, they're my little boys, Jack and James handprints. This big are in the windows back there. I am not going to wash those windows. Those prints have to stay there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jack and James were playing in this car the other day. Couldn't get enough. Did you feel the pickup on that, Matt?
This car's got some oomph. I mean, yeah, it should, but here's for a brand new motor and you're not in it.
Let me do it a little bit. I'm not even going to put my foot all the way in.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think? Are we good?
I think we're good, everybody. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.